I want to talk with you today about how connections can go in a healthy way and how we can engage with other individuals in such a way where it can be very rewarding for all people involved. And then I want to compare that to the way that narcissists do their connections with individuals, because it's so important for you to know how to make the distinction between healthy versus unhealthy, because when you just kind of go with a narcissist presuming that it's going to go okay, then it sets you up for a great deal of disappointment and even disaster and all the rest. Now, I want to give you a very positive illustration from my life that happened well over 40 years ago. In the late 1970s, I was a graduate student at the University of North Texas, and I did a lot of training in child and adolescent therapy. Now, my major professor, who was my mentor at the time, said, "Now, Les, if you want to understand the mind of an adult, learn how to engage with children, because that's where you're going to see all of it in the raw form." And it just made a whole lot of sense to me. And so I was very interested in knowing how kids interact and how you get inside their mind so that you can be a positive influence with them. And then I'd bring the same principles on up to the adult level, and it was a great type of education for me. Well, there was a man back in the 1970s who was in his prime. His name was Dr. Clark Moustakas. And he was kind of the guru, if you will, in child therapy. I mean, he was a big deal. And so he came to our university at the request of my major professor. Later on, my professor wound up being the guru after Clark Moustakas, and I had some wonderful mentors. And this was kind of a closed meeting. Only 300 people were invited to come to this, and I was privileged to sit and for a whole day seminar with Dr. Moustakas. During one of his discussions, he was talking about a time when he had a 6 or 7-year-old autistic boy in his playroom that he was doing some play therapy with, and the kid just could not connect with anyone. And Dr. Moustakas, and you have to understand, he was this Mr. Rogers looking kind of fellow with the cardigan sweater. I mean, just like, you've seen me wear some of mine before, but just like Mr. Rogers, he was just a gentle soul. He would say, the only thing the kid would do when he would come into my office is he would turn on a record player. Okay, that kind of dates you. And he would sit there on the floor, and as the record would be playing, he would just kind of do these strange gyrations as he would listen to the music. And so I decided, well, I want to connect with him. And so he actually demonstrated on stage. He sat down with his legs crossed, and he said, I just sat right in front of him, and I did my strange gyrations right along with him. And he looked at me. It's the first time he made eye contact, and he would make movements, and I would make movements back. And Dr. Moustakas was talking about what it was like, and he was demonstrating. And the audience was kind of laughing. I didn't laugh when I heard it, not because it wasn't cute or engaging, but I was just watching him very carefully. And as he was telling his story about engaging and connecting with this boy that had difficulties, I knew that he meant it down to the core of his being. He wanted to connect with this little boy. And I loved listening to him talking about how he loved that boy in that moment. Now, when it comes down to it, a vibrant life is one in which we know how to make connections with people. And the first thing that we want to do is we want to show a willingness to accept that person right where they are. That's what Dr. Moustakas was showing and demonstrating to that autistic boy. It's like, if that's where you are, and if wiggling with the music is what you do, I want to get in there and I want to know you as you. Now, you and I have the ability to connect, whether it's with people inside our immediate family or extended family, your significant other, friends and coworkers. And I understand that you can't connect with every person at the same level of intensity, but I'm hoping that you can see that there are times when you can engage with individuals in such a way where it can be meaningful, at least in the moment. And it starts with that same concept. I want to look at you. I want to figure you out. I want to just kind of pick up on your cues. And I want to let you know that where you are is, well, where I would be willing to be, obviously within reason and responsibility, so that you can know that I want to know what life is like from the inside of you. Now, let's bring this to the world of the narcissist. Does the narcissist connect in such a way that Dr. Moustakas would teach people to connect? Let me see who you are. Let me find out what your uniqueness is, and I'm just going to engage with you based on my best understanding of that. No, they can't do that. Narcissists approach relationships, and this is very important for you to understand. They approach relationships as an addict. They're looking for a fix from you. The narcissist is thinking, what are you going to give me? How are you going to make me feel better in this moment? Tell me and illustrate to me that you think that I'm special. Praise me, compliment me, adore me. That's the mindset that they bring to a relationship. So when they say they want to connect, it's an entirely different kind of a mindset from what I just described. Narcissists are in constant pursuit of gratification. Now, in narcissistic parlance, we call that they're in constant pursuit of narcissistic supply. If you give me what I want, you're on my team. If you don't give me what I want, I become angry, and this is not going to be a good situation. Now, some of you can recall times when you've been with a narcissist, and it's like, well, for a while, it's pretty good. So what's that all about? And I want you to understand that there can be a major distinction between healthy and unhealthy relating, in the sense that in a healthy way of relating, whatever you bring that's good is something that can be sustained over the long haul. Now, a narcissist can start out by being funny and fun, and they may even idealize you and give you all sorts of compliments. Of course, this becomes part of the cycle that later on you learn is idealization, devaluation, and then discard. But in the beginning, you may not realize that. They may even want to try to act as an insider with you, and they want to be friendly and encourage you. They want to find out personal things. But time illustrates that they don't really prize intimacy. They don't really prize empathy in the way that they engage with you. They're not truly interested in you as a person. They may be interested in collecting data about you, but that's not the same as knowing you from the inside out. And you'll notice they tend not to give appropriate self-disclosure. They want you to disclose, but they won't disclose the deeper stuff from the inside of them. And they don't really come with you with an attitude of care and encouragement and love. Inevitably, narcissists approach connections, unlike the doctor with an autistic child. They approach connections as a mean of establishing power or control. And then, of course, this can set up problems like anger and jealousy. Narcissists tend not to bring trust. Instead, they have suspicions about people. It's like, I don't know about you. In fact, sometimes narcissists can eventually reveal almost a form of paranoia. Narcissists approach relationships with a self-centeredness. Ultimately, it's all about me. They like to take advantage of your openness and your vulnerability, and then they want entitled treatment in reverse. And so I'm hoping that you can see that if a narcissist seems to be interested in connecting with you, that there's a distinct difference between their understanding of connections and that healthy person, and that person's understanding of connection. So let's go back to Dr. Moustakas and his simple engagement with that boy. And let's see if we can understand what real connection starts with. Real connection starts with the thought that says, I want to know you truly as you are. Not the mold, but just as you are. Real connection means that when your differences show up, it's not a threat. In real connection, there's no place for aggression and control and shame. In real connections, you can find goodness when you look for it. In real connections, you don't insist upon conformity, but instead, real connections begin with positive regard for one another. Dr. Moustakas' engagement with that boy years ago was driven by one very large thought, I'm convinced. And his beginning thought would be, what would it be like if I was in the same position as that boy? What needs would I have? That's how healthy people approach connections. Does the narcissist think that way? Do they have acceptance, empathy, tuning in, patience, encouragement, self-restraint? Those are the foundational ingredients for healthy connections. And I'm afraid we're going to have to say, with respect to the narcissist, their foundation has many cracks. I do hope that videos such as this can spur you to understand healthy and vibrant kind of relating styles, and I hope that it helps you understand why you can often feel frustrated with the narcissist. And the more you know and understand what it is that you're looking for in a good life, then the more it can give you some good fuel and to know what you need to do with that narcissistic individual. Typically, you're going to have to pull way away from them. If you've not already done so, I would encourage you to hit the subscribe button below, and we'll keep you apprised of more videos that come along. In addition, we have a website, survivingnarcissism.tv, and we have quizzes on there which are interesting, and we have other videos and articles, and we mean for it to be an augmentation of what we're doing on here. Check it out. I'm hoping that you'll find some very interesting things on there that will stimulate you. If you have a desire to seek out online counseling, we've vetted a group in there, and I know many of you like to do it in the privacy of your own home. And it may be that going to a brick and mortar place is not something you have a great availability to. We've vetted a group, and we've put a link below here so that you can check that out if you want. If you would be interested in online at-home testing for hormonal imbalances so that you can know your body and how it's responding to stress, we have links below for that. In addition, we have links to my books, my online video workshops, and even coffee mugs. Just know that I want you to be well informed as you move forward in trying to make good connections with other individuals. All of that said, I wish for you the gift of empathy. I hope that that's something that you can embody. I wish for you to be an encouraging individual. I wish for you to be a giver of peace.